The Three Little Pigs by Katelyn Sinclair. There were 3 little pigs who grew up and set out on their own to discover what life was about. They were brothers, but each had his very own style, and they built 3 small houses within a square mile. Now the first pig loved water, and therefore he planned a straw shack by the edge of the lake on the sand. It was not very strong, but it quickly was done, and allowed him to spend lazy days in the sun. But the second pig wanted to live in the wood, so he built a log cabin as fast as he could. It took longer to make than the little straw shack, and it had a red door and a garden in back. And the third pig's big dream nothing else could fulfill but a brick house built high on the top of a hill. It took longest of all, but it had a nice view of the lake and the forest and other things too. Then a terrible wolf came along down the beach, and he saw Pig 1 sunbathing just out of reach. The wolf said to himself, "What a very nice meal." But then Pig 1 jumped up and he let out a squeal. Pig 1 trembled with fear, and he knew he should hide. He abandoned his things and he scrambled inside. "Little pig," said the wolf, "won't you please let me in?" "Oh no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the terrible wolf with a terrible frown. And he huffed and he puffed, and the little straw shack blew apart. Then the wolf said, "It's time for my snack." Well, Pig 1 saw at once that his chances were slim, so he jumped in the lake and he started to swim. And he swam all the way to the opposite shore. Then he ran to Pig 2's house and knocked on the door. Then Pig 1 told Pig 2 that they both should prepare, since he worried the wolf might be tracking him there. At that moment the wolf found his way through the trees, for he'd followed the scent of the pigs on the breeze. And the wolf's stomach grumbled. Those pigs smelled so nice. They would make some great pork chops with apples and spice. "Little pigs," said the wolf, "won't you please let me in?" "Oh no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said Pig 2, and Pig 1 could not help but agree, for those pigs were not fooled by the hungry wolf's plea. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the terrible wolf with a terrible frown. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew half the day, till at last those log walls slowly started to sway. Then the roof flew right off and sailed into the sky, and the wolf once again thought his dinner was nigh. Then the wolf took another deep breath and he blew, and destroyed the log house that was built by Pig 2. But those 2 pigs were ready. They leaped through the trees, and they used a long vine as a makeshift trapeze. As they made their escape, the wolf cried in dismay. For a second time, dinner had gotten away. Well, Pig 1 and Pig 2 didn't need to think twice. They fled straight to Pig 3's house for help and advice. But Pig 3 wasn't scared, for he thought that the bricks of his house would stand up to the big bad wolf's tricks. So the pigs went inside and they waited until that mean, hungry old wolf made his way up the hill. When he got to the top of the hill, that bad beast was so weary and angry and ready to feast that he kicked at the door of the brick house and said, "Little pigs, let me in. I demand to be fed." But the little pigs laughed and replied with 3 grins, "Never, not by the hair of our chinny chin chins." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the terrible wolf with a terrible frown. The wolf huffed and he puffed, blew as hard as he could, and the windows all shook, but those brick walls still stood. "Just you wait," the wolf shouted. "In no time I'll dine on all 3 of you most uncooperative swine." Well, the day became night, and the wolf thought that soon he'd be eating those pigs by the light of the moon. But Pig 3's house stood firm. It would not budge at all, for a house made of bricks is too sturdy to fall. And the wolf got so hungry he started to cry. Then he thought of another good trick he could try. The wolf climbed to the roof, and he slithered into Pig 3's chimney, and then slowly slid down the flue. But the pigs had a secret the wolf did not know. A big pot full of water was boiling below. And the terrible wolf fell straight into the pot. Then he jumped right back out, for that water was hot. And he rushed through the room, and he ran out the door, and he vowed not to bother those pigs any more. Then the 3 little pigs heaved 3 sighs of relief, and were glad their pursuit by the wolf was so brief. And Pig 1 and Pig 2 built new homes on the hill, and as far as we know, all 3 pigs live there still. Hi, this is Katelyn Sinclair. I'm an indie author, so if you or your child enjoyed my version of The 3 Little Pigs, please consider purchasing the book. It's available now from online bookstores including Amazon and barnesandnoble.com. And thanks for your support.